Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And look at that. The Sun card. This is a lot of clarity. This is, I think, a lot of things being revealed to you. I think you're going to start seeing things in a much larger context, getting a kind of wider perspective on things. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, there's something. Seven of Pentacles. Interesting. Okay. The Fool card. The Hermit. Very nice. There's the Knight of Wands and the Three of Wands. The Eight of Cups. Seven of Swords. And a Knight of Swords. And the Six of Pentacles. It really feels to me like this Sun card is really shedding light on a lot of different areas of your life. Let's select the mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. This is one random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. We are just going to set it down over here. We'll put Tiny Bob Ross right on top. And now we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, you know. It'll give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during the reading you feel like you might know what that card is, I want you to put a prediction down in the comments. All right, let's do it together. Let's make it an exercise in intuition. But let's take a look around the room first. We've got our three major arcana energies here. Okay, we've got the Fool and the Hermit and the Sun card. It's almost as if we've got it's kind of, you know, extroversion, introversion, and then the union of both, right? The balance of the two. So I really feel as if you are you're reaching a level of spiritual maturity, almost of integration, of balance, of equilibrium. I really do like this trio of major arcana. We have some fire, we've got some water, we've got some air, and we've got some earth. So we've got a little bit of everything, right? And I think the Sun card is all about balance and illumination. It's about health and wealth. It's about having enough fire within you to resist the pressures coming from outside. It's a very good card, very, very good card. And I think it's really, I think your new perspective. I think you're looking at things in new ways, you know. Maybe you've gone through a bit of a spiritual awakening recently, and it's giving you different ideas. It's giving you kind of a new way to approach problem areas in your life, okay? And the first one I think that it's kind of talking about is the Seven of Pentacles. There's something in your life that you've been working on. It hasn't been working, right? It could be that you've been trying to get ahead at work. It just hasn't helped. You've been trying to build something. Just can't get it to stay together, you know? What the sunlight is doing now is allowing you to see this situation in a different way, right? Rather than seeing it as, you know, that somehow we have failed. You know, we've been trying to do this thing and it hasn't been working. I've failed. It's more this idea of, what does that thing need that I'm not providing for it, right? So it's kind of a shift of the a shift of perspective where we're not so concerned with, I really need this thing to work. Why isn't it working? What is wrong with it? Why is it failing? But now it's kind of saying, what does it need from me that I haven't provided? Because the sun is the giver of all light, all life, all love, right? The sun provides, So I feel like you're getting a new perspective on whatever this is. Now, this could be a work thing, could be a relationship, could be like literally something you're building, something you've been trying to fix or repair. I kind of have the feeling of like an engine, right? That it just won't work. And you've changed the spark plugs, you've done everything you can, that thing just won't work. There's something you didn't see about it. There's you got to look at it from a different angle, There's something that has escaped your awareness up until now. But I think you're going to see what that thing is. This is shining a light on this problem, but it's a spiritual light, right? And that's what we need to fix this. The sunlight is also shining a lot of putting a lot of clarity on these things over here, the water and the air. Now, we'll talk about these other cards too, but I think these are, especially the major arcana, these are more spiritualized energies. And I think that this is really talking about your overall path in life. It's a deeper spiritual subject, whereas the Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, the Seven of Swords, these are talking about kind of practical things, right? Your feelings, your thoughts, and your actions, things in the physical world that need a little bit of clarity. This clarity is going to help you reconcile the hermit and the fool, right? The sage, right? And the kind of the innocent fool here. Combining these into one. And I think what we're going to have to do, honestly, is do an I Ching reading for these three. But first, let's see how the sun is shining light on this Eight of Cups. And I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, and that's okay. It's my show. I can do that. The Eight of Cups, I think, is some kind of a deeper emotional situation that you're involved in that has started to feel a little hopeless. It's kind of like that engine that you've been working on. Just can't get the darn thing to work. This is kind of that love, that bond, that intimate relationship that you have. Could be a friend, family member. It could be a romantic thing, of course. But I think in general, this feels like perhaps lately your intimate relationships with whoever, not specific, but that feeling of being able to connect with people has diminished, right? And this is kind of, all of these cards. The sevens and the eights that we've got here, this is really, and I'm just going to move these cards around. I don't even care anymore. The sun is illuminating these things because what it is, it's trying to tell us not to identify with this. These are things that aren't working right now. These are things that just haven't been as successful as we would have imagined, that we would have liked, right? But we can't identify. None of this is who you are. This situation, this business, this engine, this house repair can't seem to work. It's not a reflection of who you are. It has failed. It doesn't mean that you have failed, right? It's not an indication of your worth, of your value, of your intelligence, of your spirit and soul, okay? And neither will the sun identify with this Eight of Cups. It's difficult right now to form intimate relationships or relationships that you have been working on just aren't really, you're not feeling it right now, That's not an indication of your worth. It's not an indication of who you are. So the sun is here to say, we shed light on this. We give this thing love and light, and we give it who we are, but it is not who we are. You cannot identify with these things. These are, let's say, negative behaviors, negative emotions, negative thoughts. That's not who you are. We need to see that. We need to shine this sunlight down. I kind of wish I had a little flashlight in these readings so I can shine the light on these things. Just because that flashlight shines a light down on something doesn't mean it is that something. It's still just light, right? No matter what it kind of looks like, no matter what color, it is refracting or whatever the kind of scientific term is, it's still light, So the sun, through any one of these cards, is still the sun. So if your intimate relationships, if they're not really succeeding or strengthening or deepening the way that you want them to, it's not a reflection of who you are. At the same time, we need to use this solar energy, the light of our illumined consciousness, to figure out what it needs from us. What does this relationship, what do the intimate bonds of your life need from you? What kind of light, what kind of love, what kind of energy does it need? Right? And that's not a guarantee that it's going to be fixed. All the sun can do is shine its intensity on things. If things are going to grow, they're going to grow. There's a lot of other things that need to happen, right? That's why it's not an indication of your value, right? Because you're giving it everything you've got. You're doing your best, right? And that's really all we can do, is our best. Okay? So I think the sun is going to provide some light and some clarity on these intimate relationships. There might be a particular relationship right now that just seems like it's not really working. And I think you're going to get a new perspective on that and see, one, you're going to see it in some context, that it's not a reflection of who you are. But at the same time, you might see a different way to approach these things to bring the kind of success and harmony that we want. And the same thing with negative thoughts. Here is the Seven of Swords. This is a disagreement. This is like a conversation that you're trying to have with somebody, but it's like they won't listen, And you guys keep talking, but it's almost like you're talking at the same time, and so neither of you are really listening. So the sun is also shining some light on that, just because that relationship is having some difficulty. And honestly, all three of these challenge cards could be the same person, could be the same situation. Okay? Could be. Or they could be different. This could be a friend, this could be a family member, this could be a work thing. But there's difficulties in these areas. Yeah. And we've got to try, I don't remember where these cards went. I think they were like that. Or maybe they were like that. Whether this is one person or many, the idea is that looking at it from a fresh perspective, trying to see what has been hidden. Okay? Try to look where you usually wouldn't look. Look in between the lines. Look in between the wires of the whatever engine. Look in the shadows of things rather than what's right kind of in the spotlight. Look in the background of the situation. Look at what is, and now we're going to start talking about the Fool, I think. Look at what's not being said, right? Because this Fool here, I think it's kind of this feeling of being misunderstood. It's almost as if you've had this intention to strengthen and harmonize these areas of your life, right? The kind of the work life, the intimate life, and the kind of the intellectual life. You've been looking to harmonize all of those, but I wonder if lately you've been feeling a little bit misunderstood. The Fool here is sometimes says, hey, just have fun. Just, I don't think that's really this case. I think this is saying let's be okay with not having all of the answers, for one thing. But let's also look at things in the background. Let's look where most people wouldn't look. Everybody kind of looks at what's in the foreground. We look at what's in the spotlight. We look at someone's face, right? Let's look at their feet. Let's look at what their hands are doing. Let's look at what's going on behind them. Yeah. Because the Fool is one of these energies. It's pure air. It can it fills the entire room. So it's kind of looking at the past and the future at the same time, looking at the external and the internal at the same time. This is the card that listens for what's not being said. Right? Just as the sun reveals what cannot be seen. So we need this kind of energy, and it is kind of a playful energy because it's very extroverted. There is for a second there, I got a feeling that there's I don't know if some of you have been having like a chest cold lately. I know I've been dealing with a chest cold lately. But with the Fool, sometimes this can talk about a type of congestion, and it's usually kind of respiratory, like maybe a cough or maybe some kind of a chest congestion or even a head congestion. And to me, that kind of it almost is isolating us a little bit. When your head's congested and sound funny, and we can't really hear as well as we can, and we can't breathe as well as we can. Things are just kind of congested, right? I feel like there's generally some congestion in all of these areas here, these 3 areas of your life. And I think the sun is really the energy that we need to look at these things from that kind of different perspective. Okay. Now, we haven't talked about the Hermit yet. And the Hermit's kind of one of these, the Hermit's trying to disidentify. The Hermit is kind of like the Fool in a way. They're the same but different, right? They both want to blend in. They both want to kind of be anonymous, right? They both are able to see the bigger picture, to see the entire landscape, to see 7-dimensionally, to see the inside and the outside at the same time. The difference is the Fool is out there in the world, dancing and playing and being part of the world, whereas the Hermit is isolated from the world. It's introvert, extrovert. Yeah. And either one of these energies, and I think both methods are good. Both methods are necessary. Both of these are trying to get away from the identification with these. It's the idea that this thing has failed, I must be a failure, right? This is either working or it's not working. This is either working or not working. I either feel intimately connected with life or I don't, right? That's the kind of oppositional thinking that we really don't want. And that's what the Fool and I think the Hermit are trying to get away from. They don't want to play that game. The Hermit is saying, I am retiring from that kind of that duality, that oppositional thinking, right? I'm either healed or I'm broken. This either works or there's something wrong with it, right? And the Hermit doesn't want to do that, right? The Hermit is searching for that inner light, that inner sense of illumination, right? And I think that's because the Hermit's kind of in the past position. I think that you have recently experienced a kind of, maybe even a Kundalini experience, some kind of spiritual awakening, a spiritual activation. I'm getting some tingling up and down the spinal column. Okay, and into the back of the head there. I feel like you've experienced some sort of, not really an aha moment, but the awakening of a certain type of perception that now is bringing you into this sunlight. Now you've got this flashlight, and now you want to look at the past, present, future at the same time. So I feel like you've had this experience, and now you're taking that flashlight to your work life, your intellectual life, your love life, to the kind of, the concern areas in all of our lives, right? And having that illumination, I think is, especially with the Hermit, it's a self-illumination. Now you kind of understand who you are and what you want, right? But more than that, I think you understand what you don't want. You understand, too, that you are kind of this self-luminous being. You are a star. You are a containment of universal consciousness, conscious life force. You are not these problems and these incompatibilities and these struggles. These are cards of struggles. These are not cards that say it either works or it doesn't work. These are cards that say we're trying to make it work, right? So it's not an either-or thing. It's not an identification either with success, yay, or it failed, bummer, you know. It's a process, and we're constantly in that process. And I think that you understand. See, this is a trinity. The trinity is a unity. You understand that the physical world, the mental and emotional worlds are the trinity, right? We have the three components of life, but there is the unity of those things, kind of what's the source of those things. That is the sun, right? And that's what goes behind there. So you are not these things, but you express yourself in these three areas of life: physical, right, mental, and emotional. Of course, we have our spiritual life that's kind of, behind everything and underneath everything, permeates everything. You are not these things, but these are the ways in which we experience the world. Okay? And each of these cards is kind of talking about struggle and progress, but we're not identifying with the struggle itself or with the negative aspect, the failures, right? We are identifying with the process of it. We're identifying with the sun, with our spirit. And again, like that flashlight, we are shining light on something. We are putting energy into something. Doesn't mean that we become that something. Yeah. And I think that is an important thing for you. Now, we've got these two court cards that we didn't talk about yet, the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords. There could be, I'm thinking, a fire sign person in your life. That might be one or the other of these figures that we're talking about. Gosh, I don't remember where all of these went. Here, they go like that and like that. So there might be one particular person that has a lot of influence on these areas of your life. Okay, but I think the Knight of Wands is almost this desire to just take kind of like unilateral action, to be impulsive, that we might think that just radical change is necessary. If these things aren't working, then we just need to either just throw them away. It's kind of that impulse that I get sometimes where I just want to throw everything away and start over, That's kind of what this card is thinking about right now, or it's that impulse to do that, right? But that, I think, is too much identification, that we're identifying our value and our worth with that situation that right now isn't working the way we want it to, right? Sometimes we need to tear things down and rebuild them, but I don't think this is that, okay? This is the idea of acting impulsively, doing something that we might regret, rather than using our illumined consciousness to shine light on these areas and see what we might need to do differently, what we need to provide these areas of our lives to reach this success that we want. Now, we're getting there. We're getting to that Six of Pentacles. We've got to go through the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is really that kind of difficult mental energy. This is just sometimes we're at odds with our own mind, and we're trying to stay calm, or we're trying to stay tranquil, We don't see a lot of tranquility here, So there's a difficulty. It's our mind we're arguing with ourselves in a way. And again, this could be a fire sign person somewhere in your life that is involved in one or more of these situations. Okay. I'm still getting, for some of you, I'm still getting this idea of like a respiratory thing. And then with the Knight of Swords here, I kind of feel like this congestion is clearing, So I almost feel as if this sunshine is clearing away the blockage just in our spirit generally, right? And it's kind of, I think it maybe for some of you it's manifesting as a bit of a chest congestion, but then I feel like it kind of clears out of the way. And it's almost like now we can really see these areas for what they are. Now the light really shines through, and we have this kind of this 7-dimensional spotlight that we can put on our lives. And it kind of looks like this 6 of Pentacles, right? The blockage will be cleared, whether it's a physical kind of congestion. Some of you might have a chest cold right now. But we're getting here, and this is harmony. This is beauty. This is structure. This is everything working out. This is finding what the missing piece is in each of these areas to restore the balance. This is a very good prediction. This is success. This is what we're trying to achieve. All right. I want to look at the mystery card now, because I see how we want this to end, and I think we are getting there. But what is the mystery card going to tell us? Is there something else that we haven't... Whoops, sorry, Bob. He went sliding off the mystery card there. Is there something else that we haven't been considering? Let me see here. I don't know. I'd like to see some good water energy. I'd like to see a 6 of Cups to kind of indicate that tranquility, to give us the beauty and the harmony and the resonance emotionally, right? Because I think that's really, especially for Cancer, I think that's a really big part of it, right? Let's see what we have. I've got a 2 of Swords. 2 of Swords. To me, the 2 of Swords is a way that we're trying to get through the mental part of it, okay? And I think that because, the congestion really is what's preventing us from getting to this 6. So it might even be this idea of not struggling, just to choose not to fight with ourselves, right? Let's just accept that we feel this way, we're thinking this way, and we're behaving this way. Let's make the choice to not judge ourselves about that, right? The 2 of Swords is kind of this idea of peace, of suspending the fighting, of again, it kind of hints toward this non-identification. Yeah. Because we're not identified with these things, with these dysfunctions, these struggles, right? Because we're not identified with those, we're not judging them. We're not judging ourselves, right? And so that takes a lot of the mental and I think emotional stress off of us. And then we can kind of allow the intuition, allow the answer to come to us. And that's part of this sunshine, I think. Allow that inner illumination that's going to help us see these things in a better way. But I think the first step is to not identify, not put your value tied up in these things, right? They're not an indication of your value or your worth. And once we realize that, it takes a huge amount of stress off of us. And then we can see the solutions. All right. Now we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, click either above or below in the video description. I'm here every day from 6 to 8 a.m. Chicago time. Come back and see me again tomorrow. Okay? If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything. And leave some comments for me. I want to hear from you. Okay? I love reading the comments. And let me know where you're watching from too. I love to see how widespread the audience is. We're all over the globe here. That's really fascinating. If you have a small business or there's something that you want to promote or advertise, a YouTube channel, your business or whatever it is, your art, Go over to the Dove and Serpent Tarot community page. There is a post where you can advertise, you can plug, you can promote whatever it is that you want to promote there, right? As long as it's family friendly. It's kind of the Dove and Serpent Tarot yellow pages. Yeah. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.